and perform the value on this property, just like if you were doing comps, right? And then these comps are actually submitted to the bank to determine what the value is on that property. So most of the time when the property you see on the market that's either a HUD right now, you really don't see HUDs, right? And a HUD is a property that's in really bad condition. But in REO, you'll start seeing them as the market is shifting, right? So a lot of people right now bought at a high standard, right? Obviously, when the market starts shifting, you are going to see some people get in trouble. When it comes to the value of the property, it is what it is. It's just the way the market is, right? That's just the way real estate is. So today's lesson: distressed properties, listing REOs, helping lenders sell their properties. Main ideas: what will you learn? Let's see. Shift tactic number 2: distressed properties. KW University's 3-part series on listing and selling distressed property. The guides: a listing short sale, a listing REO, and working with buyers. How many of you guys know what a short sale is?
Selling the house for less than what is
Exactly. So on a short sale, what essentially is going to happen, a listing agent and an owner are going to come together to put the property on the market for sale. And more than likely, the property is going to be listed for less money than they owe. That's why, hence the term short sale, right? In a short sale, nothing is guaranteed. Absolutely nothing.
It's not short either.
Say it again?
It's not short either.
No. And the reason why, because the ultimate decision comes from the investor on that loan. Now, remember how I told you how loans work, where the bank is just the middle person in a transaction, right? Whose money are they lending? It's an investor's money, right? So the person or the entity that's actually taking the loss in an in a short sale, it's the investor, right? So the investor is the person or the entity that is actually going to be making the decision whether to approve the short sale or not, right? I've been in this business for a very long time. I've done a ton of short sales, right? I've only gotten one denied. And they straight up said no. And the property went to foreclosure, right? It kind of didn't make any sense for them to do that, but yeah, we got denied the short sale. The longest short sale I did was 1.5 years.
No.
1.5 years it took for B of A to give us an approval. And that was on a property that we had listed in Acton. It was a beautiful property, infinity pool on top of a pool with 10 acres worth of land. On top of a hill, not on top of a pool. It was just an amazing property. The buyer, we ended up double lending that property, and the buyer that bought that thing still has it. His name's Juan. Yeah, he ended up waiting. He still have it? He still has it. His house right now, he ended up paying like $310,000 for that house. Today, in today's market, that house is worth over $1 million. Right? It's just incredible the opportunities that come up when the REO market hits, the short sale market hits, and you'll see a ton of business working with investors, right? Shift mastering distressed properties, series objectives, skills you will need, mindset challenges and how to approach them, resource demands, self-evaluation and action steps to move forward. One of the main ones here is going to be the mindset challenge, right? Why? Why do you guys think?
Mindset is very difficult to overcome.
Right.
No matter what situation.
But when it comes to this subject here, why is the mindset so important? What do you guys think?
Because it's tough.
Exactly. It is a lot of work, right? Short sale are a lot of work. When it comes to a short sale listing, you like constantly. I remember when I used to do a ton of short sales, I would be on the phone with banks every single day. On the same property, I would just buck the crap out of them, right? Because I needed an answer. Oh, we don't have any updates. All right, call you tomorrow, right? Call them tomorrow, no, and I would call every single day. And the first thing I would do as soon as I got here to the office would be to call these banks, because a lot of these banks are on the East Coast, right? Listen REO course objective. See the opportunity. Grasp the market background and foreclosure process. Know what changes to expect. Know the lenders and asset managers' mindsets and motivation. That's going to be a key thing, is to build a relationship with the asset manager for that account. Right? Know the REO listing and selling process. Know how to work effectively with buyer agents. Know how to improve offer acceptance and close rates. Know how to lead generate with networking and BPOs. Make a sound choice of your business. REO, reality and you exercises. What we will cover today, some of it, right? We probably won't get through everything, but we'll get through as much as we can. What will you learn? Distressed property timeline, REO, what is it? REO listing agent job description, mindset, lenders, asset managers, agents, and buyers. Lead generation, broker price opinions, BPOs. REO listing and selling process, building your REO business, and 10, listing REO and you. Graduate study, where to look, MAPS coaching, let's skip that, let's skip this. So career growth initiative, okay, this should be in your handout. If you don't have a handout, there's a couple of them here at the top. So you're listing, how does this work, right? What is the process of building a real estate business regardless of what type of market you have? Right? It all falls down to what?
Lead generation.
Lead generation, which leads into what?
Your pipeline.
It's on the screen. Your appointments, right? Your appointments, listing appointment. Listings taken. So at the end of the day, you want to track how many appointments you're going on a weekly basis versus how many listings you're actually taking. You want to track your numbers, right? Your macros. I had a conversation with an agent a couple weeks ago that I mentored at the Eastside office a couple years ago, and he's now at the Encino Keller Williams, right? And I got on the phone with him just to catch up with him. He was telling me that his daily goal is 2 appointments a day, regardless whether it's a buyer or seller. He has to do 2 appointments a day. And he lead generates about 5 hours a day, every single day. And I asked him, I said, Arturo, what happens if you don't get your 2 appointments? He's like, I don't go home. I gotta have 2 appointments every single day, right? So those are that's the mindset that he's in. Again, it falls down to executing those listing appointments to be able to get what? Listings taken, right? And as you funnel through the process, you're eliminating the people that aren't ready to buy, putting them in your database, and you're moving forward into those contracts, putting them in escrow, and ultimately doing what? Getting paid, right? Any questions? So getting the most out of the experience, we go through this in every session. In this part of the lesson, the prisoner has to be there, doesn't want to be there, and doesn't know why they are there. I mean, how many of us sometimes find ourselves in that perspective, right? He doesn't engage, spends.
Sounds like jail.
Yeah, it is. Doesn't engage, spends class time catching up on their emails, escapes by spending time in the hall, on their phone, holds on to limited beliefs, multitasks on their computer by working on side projects, picks fights with the trainer and other participants that don't agree. I've had plenty of these people in my class, right? The vacation or day in training, better than a day on the job, spends as much time as listening. Chatting as listening, they're to have fun, distracts the class with irrelevant comments, returns late from break and lunch, not purposeful where their learning goes. Oh my God, spends the day on their smartphone, texting and checking Facebook, isn't paying attention. The explorer, which is what you guys are. Excited and curious about the next knowledge, skills, and tools they will discover in class. Listens attentively, then participates fully in discussions and exercises. Asks meaningful questions and contributes compelling ahas. Arrives to class on time and returns promptly from breaks. Adopts a posture of acceptance. Takes notes in their manual for future reference. Respects the different learning styles and opinions of others. Which one are you? Right? Which one are you? So distressed property timeline, know it. Consult with expertly. Personal shifts happen. Market property shift events occur. Buy insurance happens. Personal shift, foreign primary cause has negative equity from the market value shift. So what does this mean, right? In today's market, we're still in a seller's market because of the inventory being where it is. Even though our inventory has definitely risen and properties have taken a different direction in the time that they're going to sell, we're still in the seller's market, right? As of yesterday, we had 1,086 listings on the market active, right? For us to have a healthy market in the Antelope Valley, we need about 2,000, close to 2,500. We need about 4 months worth of inventory, right? 1,000 is only a little bit over 2 months. We do about 400 to 400 sites or transactions in the Antelope Valley month after month, right? So 1,000 listings out there is, even though it sounds like a lot, it really isn't, right? But it's a lot better than where we were at a couple months ago, aren't we? I mean, a couple months ago, we were dealing with freaking 300 homes for a very long time, and trying to get an offer accepted was like freaking trying to pull a tooth out of a tiger's mouth, right? It was nearly impossible. Working with buyers is a very, very tough thing to do a few months ago, right? Now that the market has changed, right? There's more inventory available. That's a good thing for you guys that are working with buyers, right? Because you have the opportunity of using different lending options, right? Negotiating better terms, negotiating the price, right? Getting closing costs. Just like Brittany put together an offer yesterday, and it was a down payment assistance program. They're asking for closing costs, and what was the answer from Ileana?
Not yet. I guess I'm gonna call the lender for the DU because all she said is, okay, thank you. Okay.
We'll follow up with her today, but I'm sure that you'll be an escrow by the end of the day today.
Hopefully.
Right? So the way the market works, or the way the market is in its current status, for agents that are working with buyers, it's a great option right now. Right? Because again, buyers have a ton of options right now. They don't have to wait or compete with 40,000 other people trying to get an offer accepted, right? So negative equity, right? If you see this in your handout, go to it, right? So the purple column that you see here is going to be the value, right? What is it worth in today's market? Your purple is going to be the loan that they have, the debt, right? And the white one's going to be the equity that the property is gaining. Now, as you see with the shifted part, you see where the value went and where the debt went? So that means that instead of it being like this, it's going to start turning, right? Yes, the longer properties sit on the market, the lower the price is going to be. Why? Time is your biggest enemy in this business, guys. Right? It is your biggest enemy in this business. Now, whenever you're pricing a property for sale, now we're in the shift, you have to be very careful. Right? You have to be very careful, because if you try to chase the market that we had before, you're not going to sell. You're going to sit on the market, and I've seen that already. Right? I'm seeing that already. Property's been on the market 45, 50, 55 days. Right? That's not good. And the reason is that a lot of agents are still in that mindset, and people, owners of properties are still in that mindset that, oh my God, the market is way up there. Let's put the property at the highest level that we can. And unfortunately, you can't do that anymore, right? You got to see where the value is and price at 10 or 15% undervalue so that you can actually get some action on it. Any questions on this? Personal shift, your primary cause is role of unemployment. Unemployment plays a big role in the economy's health. Okay? Big role. If people don't have money, we have no sales. Right? If people don't have no money, they don't spend money. So the unemployment rate is a big contributor to the economy's direction. Right? Timing of unemployment surge exaggerated the distressed property situation. Personal reserve mortgage delinquency tied up to unemployment along with debt and home prices. So In my case, I check the unemployment rate almost on a daily basis to see where we're at. Luckily, we're still good, right? We're still good. The market is still very, very healthy, you might say. Personal shift are primary causes. Unforeseen medical expenses, unplanned job transfers, death in the family, divorce, job losses, right? So these are contributing factors to what? The shift, right? Contributing factors to having what? Distressed properties. People don't have money, they can't maintain their home, right? They can't make their payment. Consumer confidence, naive confidence can help. Overconfidence can hurt. Again, we're talking about being aggressive or being smart with the pricing of these properties, right? So these are just the type of loans that you're going to run into, right? So conventional loan, obviously, so we all know what this is. FHA or VA loan or short sale, that just explained that. A trustee or sheriff sale. How many of you guys know what a trustee sale is?
Foreclosure.
Well, we don't call it a foreclosure in California, eh?
But that's what it is.
I know, it is. We call it a trustee sale, right? Remember the example I made on board where I talked about the trustee being in the middle of the bank and the homeowner, and the bank becomes what? The beneficiary. What right does a trustee have when you buy a house? What right do you convey to them? The right to sell, right? The right to sell. So if you default on your house and you're 120 days past, then it gives them the right to take your house to what? Auction, right? Again, it would be considered a foreclosure, right? A pre-list auction. This is public information, right? Why? Because anything that is going to affect the title to that property will more than likely be recorded against it, right? And there'll be public record of the NOD. What is an NOD?
Notice of default.
Notice of default. That is issued on what day? Ooh, got you there.
Isn't that like they're after 30 days?
No.
What is it?
Day 91.
Oh,
Okay? So it takes 3 months for a bank to issue an NOD against an owner. Why? Because they have to send you the white envelope, and then the yellow one, and then the pink one, right? Saying you're about to go into foreclosure, you need to take action, right? And on day 91, they have the right to file an NOD. Now, not every bank does it. Okay? Not every bank does it, but typically that's what happens. On day 91, a notice of default is recorded against your property, right? At day 120 is when the trustee sale is scheduled. And all that information is recorded against the house, right? It'll say, if you pull up a property report, it'll say foreclosure activity initiated, right? And there'll be a little flag, and you get to see that. Now, can a foreclosure be stopped? Absolutely.
yes.
Right? Catch up on your payments. That's one way.
Refinance.
Refi if you have equity.
Sell.
Right? Sell the property. Or you file for bankruptcy.
That's a good way to stop it.
Yeah. Right? Buyer interest happens, pre-foreclosure sales. When pre-foreclosures happen, or short sales, or auctions, or anything related to the opportunity of a person having the best deal of their life in real estate, you end up having a whole bunch of people trying to do this, right? During an during a down market, the trustee sales or the auctions that happen at the courthouse in Norwalk, you're there competing with a whole bunch of investors that are ready to buy these properties cash, right? Now, in a trustee sale or in an auction, you better have some dinero available, right? Because most of these auctions do not offer any type of financing, right? It is cash money. And you got to be ready to make sure that you have that cash available to make sure that you have the opportunity of picking up the property, right? So it's very, very important. Exercise, how can you explain the timeline? Step or point selected, right? Why focus on this step? Your headline message for your client. Why is it so important to know this stuff? Why? Because that market is coming, guys. Right? That market will be here. And you guys will have the opportunity to be able to work with people that are in trouble. Right? As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with Becky a couple days ago. And she's like, I got my first short sale. She's never done a short sale before. She came to me for some advice. And I actually took it upon myself to do it in front of her. I ended up calling the bank. Right? And asking them what their process was in relation to a short sale. Here, let me send this to voicemail and text. Right? And the very first thing a bank is going to tell you, we need a third-party authorization signed by you and the client. Right? Before we can even discuss anything with you. And that was exactly what I asked. I said, hey, my name is George Perez. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams. I was calling because we have a common client and that I will be conducting a short sale on their property. Do you guys have a third-party authorization on your website, or would you like me to send one on my own? Oh, just send one on your own, include all the client information and loan. Right? Perfect. That's all I wanted to know, right? So she heard the information. I gave her the letter of authorization that I had created because I was working short sales so much. She sent it, right? It takes a couple days for them to update that information. So, what is an REO? Right? A post foreclosure possession taken by a lender, investor, or their representative. Bank's asset manager or investor may be the owner. Refer to this course as the bank, right? Or lender. So again, REO stands for what? Real estate owned, which means it's a bank-owned property.
So George, to touch on that, so a house will go into foreclosure if nothing happens, then it goes to REO?
It depends on the situation. It depends what kind of loan it has, right? So if it, for example, if it's an FHA loan, most of the time an FHA loan that goes to foreclosure becomes a HUD home.
A what?
A HUD home, okay, HUD,
Oh, I see.
because of the type of loan. If the HUD home then doesn't sell, then the bank takes it and it becomes an REO.
Right.
A HUD home is sold in its current condition. There's no repairs, there's nothing done. If the house looks like crap, the house looks like crap, and that's the way you're going to
So
buy
does
it.
it have to be bought cash?
Yes.
Oh.
Or you could finance it using a conventional investor loan. Right? You would have to put at least 20% down. Those properties would not qualify for an owner-occupied loan. The HUD home, right?
What does HUD stand for?
Housing Urban Development.
Yes. Beat me to it. That's good. I like it. Good job, Joanna.
I like it.
Yeah. Now, what a HUD home does, a HUD home gets put on the market at its appraised value, right? There's no room for negotiation when it comes to HUD homes. So your client comes, well, let's offer $20,000 under what they have listed for. It's not going to happen, right? The price that's why HUD homes banks they're smart, right? They'll take the time to put a value on this property by either having a BPO performed, right? A BPO broker's price opinion, or an appraisal done,
Andrew.
right? Now, if the property doesn't sell, then the bank takes it over. A lot of the times when the bank takes it, they'll put money into it to make it look nice, put it back on the market, and now it qualifies for FHA. And what is an FHA loan? It's an owner-occupied loan, right? And all owner-occupied loans, the property that you're buying has to be what? In move-in condition, right? Hence the word owner-occupied, right? So the property has to be available for you to move in, right? If the property is not in those standards, then you can't use owner-occupied lending options, right? So bank sets the value with a BPO input from a listing agent. So we actually had a whole bunch of agents in this office that were doing BPOs for banks. BPOs, I mean, some agents say that they're a waste of time on the agent's part, and some agents is like, hey man, I'm building my relationship with the bank, with the asset managers, right? So if you ever get a call from a bank and say, hey Ramses, this is National Savings of America, right? We have a couple properties that we need BPOs. We're paying $40 a BPO. Are you interested?
Yes.
And you're gonna say, yes, I am. Right? You're thinking, why did I say yes to $40 a BPO? It's so much work. Right? You gotta look at it from a different perspective. Because those BPOs are being handed to you by a person called an asset manager. The asset manager is the person you want to be in love with.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to be like, yes, 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 whatever you want, Mr. Asset Manager, Ms. Asset Manager. Right. Why? Because they'll give you the opportunity of having an REO account.
Right.
REO accounts, obtaining an REO account is not easy. You gotta build a lot of rapport with these asset managers. Right? It could take years before you could actually even be considered for an REO account. But once you get one, ton of money to be made.
Have you done REOs?
Ton of money to be made. Right? Here's the thing with the REO market. You gotta have some pockets too. You gotta have some money. Right? Because anything that a property and that's an REO, anything the property needs, utilities, cleanouts, anything comes out of your pocket, right? And then you get reimbursed by the bank at the time of the sale, right? But there's a system that they use that you have to be on time, in detail, in perfect status with these accounts. Because the moment that you screw up, they will kick you out.
So George, when like the buyer and they submit like a request for repairs, you have to then at that point do it or no?
No, he's talking about before the
I'm
house.
talking about before the house is even on the market. This is you listing it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So all utilities go under your name. Any services go under your name. Any billing goes under your name. You gotta have money, right? You gotta, because here's the thing. If you get an REO account and the inventory for REOs is large, they're gonna end up giving you, hey Andrew, here's 20 houses.
Damn.
It's like that. It's 20 houses for sale, 20 listings. Now, the commissions are a lot different, right? You might end up making only 1% or 2%, 1.5% on the listing side for that listing, but at the end of the day, it's what? Volume, right? You can make 3% on one listing, you can make 1.5 on 20.
Cat faster, right?
Right? Of course. But that's regard the fact. The fact is obtaining the account. Right? Multiple offers considered. Funding must be ironclad. Reasonable speedy contract to close. Again, everything has to be on time. Bank approval only. So the bank approval, we're talking about short sale. Right? Bank's title company used. The banks will decide who we're going to use for escrow and services and all of that stuff that we do through a normal transaction. Banks in control, right? And the bank clears the title. Now, when it comes to REOs, does an REO bank need to provide disclosures?
Yes.
No. Why are disclosures necessary?
So that the previous buyer or previous owner can let you know if anything is.
Right, so it's for the owner to disclose information they know about the property,
Right.
right?
They just.
But a bank has no idea what the property,
Right.
what's going on with the property, right? They never lived there, right? They've never seen it. They're just the asset manager. So a bank is not required. So there's 3 situations where disclosures are not needed. The bank does not have to provide disclosures.
Even natural disclosure?
Yep.
Natural hazard?
A natural hazard is not a disclosure, it's a report.
Oh, right.
All right? Whenever you're doing a transfer between family, like husband and wife, if Andrew was married and he transferred one property to his wife, you would need disclosures. Right? It's a family transfer. Right? But investors, regular people like ourselves that have a couple properties here and there, right? We're not exempt from it. We have to provide disclosures to the other side. benefits for buyers. Institutions want to sell quickly to reduce liability and cost, right? The banks don't want to keep the inventory. They want to get rid of it, right? They want to clear their books, right? So if they have the opportunity to get rid of it fast, they're going to. As long as the offer that is being submitted from a buyer's perspective makes sense for them, right? Pricing generally reasonable and unemotional. Clear. You're going to receive a property with clear title, right? REO owning lenders pushing financing opportunity. You see the REO market start climbing as the market shifts. State of REO market, Gary and the perfect storm. Government push for more home ownership in the 90s, and we're talking about this is the past, right? Lender aggressiveness, more products, lower standards. When the market starts shifting and the market starts getting funky, lenders or banking institutions start getting creative with their loans, right? When I first started in this business, there was no freaking loan that you can use with bank statements to prove that you qualify. I've actually used that for people. No taxes needed, right? No verification of employment needed. All we need to verify is that you had deposits for 24 months, right? And I've actually gotten people qualified with those type of loans. The interest is a little bit higher. But I always tell people, hey, it's a stepping stone. If you don't qualify because you haven't filed taxes in 2 years, but you have deposits, hey, why not? Right? So the market gets creative when it comes to lending, right? So you'll start seeing a lot of different opportunities that buyers can take advantage of for their purchase. Right? REO impact on pricing, downward spiral. The downward spiral of defaults in home prices, less buyers and more sellers. Average home price falls, right? So sellers get the upside down short sales and defaults. Foreclosures increases. REO market hit the market. Average home prices fall further. More sellers get upside down, more defaults. Foreclosures increase, more REOs hit the market. It's a cycle, guys. Right? It's a cycle. So the fact that we had such a high market, or we still do, to be honest with you, right? It's starting to slow down, it's starting to come down. But a lot of the people that buy that were making these ridiculous freaking offers and getting offers accepted and closing escrow, I mean, I don't want to sound like a negative Betty, but wish him the best, right? I wish him the best. Mr. Steve Burton, are you online? Can you hear me?
No.
I can hear you.
There you are, buddy. There you are, Mr. REO agent himself. Steve, give us a testimony of your experience being an REO agent, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was in the doctor's office. Okay, I stepped outside waiting on my daughter. What type of experience are you looking for?
Just your.
I mean,
what?
It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but you're up all night. I mean, like I heard you mention earlier about getting 20 listings.
Right.
That's really something that's very tough to do. Your life is over when you get 20 REO listings, as you know it.
What was the most? What was the most assigned to you at one time, Steve?
Most assigned to me at one time, I would say like within a few days, a weekend, maybe within a week, I'd say about 20 something, but I had about 300 at one time altogether. So, we had about, 75 in escrow, 75 on the market, and probably about 200 in the hopper waiting to go on the market.
Wow. Wow.
So I had Thomas, Ed Fredgen, Thomas Palaskis, Guy Herod, Guillermo Zavala, a few other guys on the team. And I mean, often Thomas would spend the night at my house that we were working so hard.
Now, as
Ed had to go home because he had a family.
right, that's crazy, that's crazy. Now, as far as being responsible for the financial responsibility of utilities and all that stuff, did you ever lose money on that?
Oh, yeah. Yep, not as much as Jason, but if you don't dot your i's and cross your t's on every single thing, they won't pay you.
Wow.
You're gonna use that money at the close of escrow.
How hard?
And, you know, in those days, it was a little different, you know, because, you know, I mean, REOs weren't selling for a lot of money, so, you know, you weren't making a lot of money per transaction, so you had to have, you know, a bunch of properties in order to make a living at it.
Right. That makes total sense. Now, as far as you acquiring the REO count, how difficult was that, Steve?
Oh, it was, you know, it takes a lot of luck. It was difficult, it took years, and like I said, a lot of luck, but you have to put yourself in the position to get the luck. You know, it kind of started out where I answered a phone call for a BPO, and I wasn't able to do it because it was in Ridgecrest, but I referred them to somebody, and they liked that. They told me to sign up on their site. I did BPOs from them for 2 years or so, maybe 3 years.
Before you got
Since I asked them, when am I going to get an REO?
Wow.
And they said, well, we don't have any in California. You want to move to Michigan? You know, and I'm like, well, no, but they said, we have plenty in Michigan. So, you know, eventually this started, I would say 2004 or something, when the market was really good. I got my first REO in 2006, and I got 2. I remember it was November 2006 because my wife was cooking Thanksgiving dinner, and I went to check on the houses. And so then, you know, the next few months, you know, it kind of expedited from there. I also had luck that my daughter was worked for an asset management company, so that helped out a little bit. Like, with, you know, probably 100 house helped out.
Wow.
That she was able to push my way, and so, like I say, it's a lot of luck. I gave a lady change in a food line at an REO conference, and she came over to my table to give me the change back, took me over to her table, introduced me to her crew, and she happened to be with Citibank, and I got a bunch of properties from Citibank, but that was luck. Then the person at Citibank went somewhere else. They called me up and said, hey, you did a good job for me at Citibank, you want some properties? You know, so it's luck. It's a lot of luck.
Being at the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, right?
Correct.
Right. But it sounds like, I mean, you earned your stripes by performing all these BPOs for so many years that it obviously gave you the experience of what to expect with an REO, right?
Right, yeah. You know, and, you know, like, I mean, like Marvin and I mean, we are still, you know, really at it, and we've gone to all the conferences when there was no REO. So instead of 2,000 people at these conferences, there was 200 people. We got to meet people.
Right.
So that was kind of our plan. So, you know, when there's 200 people, you get to meet people. When there's 2,000 people, you know, going after these asset managers, they actually hide from them. They don't want anything to do with you. There's too many people coming at them.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense.
Right.
Now, in these events that you've attended in the last, I would say in the last couple of years, right? What information have they shared about the REO market coming back?
It's going to be, it seems like it's going to be really limited. They're going to do everything they can to keep people in their homes. They don't want it to be like it was in 2008. So basically they're going to, you know, anything, if they can modify the loan, if they can, you know, take the money and put it on the back of the loan, if they can refinance it for you, whatever they can do to try to keep you in that house, they're going to do right now.
So they're gonna.
So we're not going to see what we saw in 2008.
So the banks are gonna get. They're gonna get creative, as I said earlier, right? They're gonna get creative trying to keep people in their homes because the last thing they want to do is have another 2008. And 2008 was not a good
Right.
situation for anybody, right?
Right, exactly.
Unfortunately, a lot of people, like Steve said, 300 homes. That's 300 families that lost their home. And Steve wasn't the only REO agent in this valley. There was multiple. He just mentioned Marvin. He mentioned Jason. I mean, we had quite a few REO agents just in our office alone. So can you imagine how many people did lose their home, right? But unfortunately, at that time, banks didn't care, right? It's fortunate now that Steve is saying that banks actually do care now, and they're going to try and help you as much as possible to stay in that house. So that's a good thing.
So with that being said, we might not see a ton of REOs.
We might not, but we don't have a crystal ball, right? This is what the banks are planning based on the information that Steve is sharing, but anything is possible in this business, right? We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what the future can we can't foresee what the future can do because we might see the market doing one thing and all of a sudden the market can shift just like it has in the last couple of weeks with this increase in interest, right? So, Steve, thank you so much for sharing that information with us, man. That definitely helped give us a little bit more insight.
All right, yeah, anybody can call me anytime.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate it, man. For you guys that don't know
Thank you.
Steve,
All right.
that's Steve Byrne right there. He's a seasoned agent with our office. He's been here since the beginning. He's actually one of the core members of the office. Right, and has a ton of experience when it comes to REOs. He has quite an extensive resume when it comes to it, right? So if you guys ever have any questions, he's always open to answering anything that has to do with an REO. So I would definitely recommend that you reach out to him. You know, build a relationship. You never know, he might have a spot for you on his team. You never know. It's all about relationships in this business, right? All right, REO listing agent job description. Why do this in the business? Number one, you build a baseline skill you can always use. What would be a good skill? BPOs, right? Go out there, even if you're not doing a BPO for anybody, go out there and become a BPO agent, right? Look up what a BPO agent does. What is a BPO? It's a broker's price pin. It's just like an appraisal, very similar, right? Accelerate your business in tough times. You got to get creative. You got to get ready, right? It's like when you go.
Looking to train a couple people to help out with BPOs.
There you go. There you go. So there's an opportunity just came, right? If anybody's interested in that, reach out to Steve, right? So you want to prepare yourself. It's like when you go to the gym. Do you go straight to lifting weights? No. What do?
Warm up.
You warm up, right? You get the blood flowing. You got to prepare. You don't want to get hurt, right? So as the agent, it's the same thing. You want to build that skill set.
Can I highlight something real quick?
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
said you got his first one in 2006. Up to 2006, things were going very well,
Yeah.
right? So that means he was doing BPOs from what, 2002, 3,
A very
4?
early stage in
He
the
was
market.
doing for what?
He said 3 years. He was doing BPOs for. Steve was doing BPOs
Right,
for 3
2
years.
3 years.
3 years before he was offered an REO account, right? So again, Steve was out there working, doing what he needed to do, earning his stripes as an REO agent.
That's
Right?
what you have to do.
Exactly. Even though sometimes the BPO that you're gonna go out there and conduct, you might not get paid for it,
Right.
right? It's just
Free.
part.
It's
It's
free.
yeah. And I think Steve, what's the most they pay for for a BPO right now? About $40?
Those that I was mentioning, I didn't get paid for any of them.
Wow.
So we just had one. They paid us $40. It was so much work. It was a lot of work. We had to go out more than once. because you can't go to the next page without filling out all the information.
Right.
So we went out, we took pictures, we walked the property, we came back, we started filling it out. Crap, we missed something. We gotta go back out there. Okay, cool. Came back.
Where was the property at, Sean?
It was on like 100th Street, Far East Lancaster.
Okay, so.
In the middle of nowhere, and I've never seen this before, but coming up to it, half the road is old, half the road is new. For like half a mile.
Wow.
For no apparent reason.
What city is this?
Lancaster.
Wow.
Was he
Yeah.
saying
So just like Steve was saying right now, look at the screen. Tough working conditions. Right? Steve said that him and his team would be up late time in the hour working on these files. He just said, I didn't have a life. Right? But those are sacrifices that they made for their business, right? Long days and hard work. He just said that. Do it now. Institutional mindset. Right? Just like Sean was saying right now, they had to go back to that property multiple times. Right? Because you got to submit the information to the asset manager the way they're asking for it. You can't do it the way you want to. You got to do it the way they're asking you to. Right? And the information has to be, and there's timelines for you to enter this information.
Double of pictures.
Pictures and
like specific pictures.
right. Yes.
It wasn't like general, like, oh, I'm gonna just get the front of the house.
Right.
No. We had to go
Yeah,
back.
I've done BPOs before. Right, I have. Commitment, get involved now. You can get in, stories and guide, right? We're extra hats, accounting firm, property manager. I'm sure that Steve was all the hats in the description. Right? Even though he was a team leader, he still is a team leader of his team. I'm sure that he stepped in and filled every position that was available on in that team. Cost and reimbursements. Okay, we just talked about, right? I asked him if he ever lost any money. He said yes. He said not as much as Jason Chapman. I know that Jason Chapman lost like $30,000 or $40,000 if I'm correct.
He said.
Total.
Yes, total. Through money that he didn't get reimbursed.
I think it was more like 100,000.
Holy crap.
Sheesh.
Wow.
He said he lost like 10,000 on one of them.
Yeah.
Like just on one of them.
Right. So you got to be prepared financially also.
George.
What's up, Alice?
Hi, so what are the benefits of doing REOs then?
Volume.
Volume. You get listings. Right? You get you're getting multiple listings at once. But they are a lot of work. But here's the thing. You're going to work hard regardless, guys. Right? What for my mentees, what do we have to do every single day? It's lead generate. Five contacts a day. Right? You're going to work hard regardless. You're either going to work hard for somebody else as an employee, you're going to work hard for your own business. Because you're a business owner. Right? And if your business requires attention, what do you have to do? You got to give it to it. Right? You got to give your business attention. Right? It's a relationship between you, the business owner, and your business. Right? What happens when you don't take care of your business? The business won't take care of you. Right? And with time, there is no business. That business will disappear.
With the REO, do you still list it like you would any of your other listings?
That's a good question. Steve, as far as listing the property through an REO, is the listing documentation the same as you would use with any other owner?
Stepping outside again, hold on.
But not even the documentation, like I'm talking about the whole thing.
Okay, no, it's not the same. Basically, it's whatever, sometimes it is. It depends on the bank, but you have to follow their instructions. So whatever they tell you to do, and so it's not always the same. Margaret and I have one right now in Acton, and it went to auction, and it sold at auction. We just basically had to do a cash for keys, which was $12,000. We had to, get the property cleaned up, which was an active property. It had a lot of debris on the property. That was another $3,000.
That's 15 grand. So that cash for keys that you guys, or that the squatter, all right, took, did that come out, whose pocket did that come out of?
It came out of our pocket.
12,000 bucks coming out of Steve and Marvin's pocket, right? And then $3,000 additionally, so now they're at 15 grand. And the property's not even on the market yet. Right?
No, it's on the market. It's on the market. It's on the market, and well, yeah, that was before it hit the market.
Right.
It's in escrow now.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the average commission that a bank pays you on an REO listing, Steve?
I think on this one, it was either 1.5 or 1.75% for the listing side. It was 1% for the buyer's agent.
Oh my God.
Is the marketing the same?
And then the buyer has a 5% buyer premium.
Wow.
So whatever the buyer offered for the house, they have to pay 5% extra.
To the bank.
On top of it for the auction fee. Yeah, to the bank.
Wow.
So as far as like marketing, is that the same? We just do like the same pictures for like whatever you do for your normal listings?
Yes, and you do, this property was tore up from the floor up, but yes, the pictures do the same.
Got it.
What did the property end up selling, if you don't mind me asking, Steve?
I think it was $540,000, I believe.
So it must have been a pretty special property.
Is Marvin in the room? Is Marvin there?
No, he's not.
I think
okay.
it was 540. Yeah, Marvin told me it was 540. They originally listed at
Okay.
630.
635 is where they listed it at, yeah.
Yeah, and then they got it for 540 through the auction.
Wow, that's
Right.
that's crazy, right? Thanks, Steve. Appreciate the information. I hope you don't mind me asking you questions continuously as the lesson goes through.
No, just let me know. I'm just sitting here waiting on my daughter. It stops my boredom, so. It's
All
cool.
right, for sure,
All
for
right.
sure. All right, we're extra hats. Again, we talked about you stepping in and being every position in that transaction, right? Accounting for property manager continued, right? Cost and reimbursements. Steve just said that obviously you get reimbursed. You don't get reimbursed overnight, right? Reimbursements turnaround time is 45 to 90 days. Now imagine it's going to take Steve about that amount of time to get that 12 grand that he paid the person that was there to give him over the keys, and the 3 grand that he spent cleaning the property up, right? Percent reimbursed averages around 90%. Be prepared to be a bill collector, right? See tables of costs and times in your guide. You want to make sure that you have resources, right? What do I mean with resources?
Cash, money.
Well, money for to start, right? But you want to make sure that you have some people that can do some work, right? Steve just said that he had to clean out this property. You want to have some people that can do that, right? Or any type of repairs or things of that sort, right? So you want to have a team of resources that are going to help you with this account, right? Property management, security cameras, right? Clean out. He just talked about that. Maintenance, utilities. You're responsible for that as the agent, right? You may divide the responsibilities with the lender, property preservation vendor, right? But as a listing REO agent, it's going to be your primary responsibility to take care of that stuff, right? Be prepared for inventory swings, working to control flow of properties, government, lending institutions, title and escrow companies. Is there a next wave building? How will prices and buyers be impacted? We're already seeing that impact, right? We're not in an REO market, but we are in a shift, right? We are in a shift, and what happens in shifts?
Things shift.
Things shift, exactly. Right? The market changes, the market slows down, inventory goes up, days on the market is a lot higher. A few months ago, you would put a property on the market and it'd be gone the same day.
Current days on market 37 days.
Right now, 37 days on the market.
It's up like 14 days from this month.
And it's gonna keep increasing. Why?
Buyer demand's going down.
Interest rates are gonna keep going up. Right? The Fed's already said that we're gonna see another 2 increases in this market. Right? We still have half a year left pretty much. Well, a little bit less. But that what every increase does is what to the buyer pool. It makes it smaller. Right? Because people don't qualify anymore. Or they qualify for less and they get pre-qualified for a loan that is just not usable right now because of the prices. Right? When the market was at the peak just a few months ago, I mean, interest rates were so low that every average person was able to buy. Right? So that makes a world of difference. Different paths to success. Be there, done that. Agents who have done REO in the 80s and 90s. Right? Relative newcomers, like Steve said, you gotta be on top of your game. Right? You gotta make sure that everything gets done according to the bank's instructions. Right? Or you're gonna lose that account. And like Steve said, trying to get an account is not an easy thing to do. Yeah, exactly. You can put yourself in position to lose a lot of money, just like Steve said, happened to Jason Chapman, 100K, oh my God.
Shit.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine taking $100,000 out of your pocket and just throwing it in the trash? That hurts. Right? That hurts.
They need to do it right now.
Gotcha. All right, guys, there is another event going on in our classroom right now. We're past 10 minutes past the hour. There's a lot of information to be due. The REO part is going to be divided in 3 sections, right? So tomorrow at 9 o'clock, Garrett will go into the second session of this series. So if you have any questions, bring them to the table tomorrow. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, George.
You got it. Thank you.